I am a crypto skeptic, though. I've already told you that. The environmental impact of crypto is really, really bad, mostly because of proof of work. Yeah, I think everyone agrees on that. Like, even crypto shows agree that usually that proof of work is bad. I do think the blockchain has potential when it becomes more efficient. What really bothers me, I'm losing my mind hearing that. Hey, hop into Twitch chat, magicturtle, if you wanna fight over that. What bothers me honestly with the blockchain is that, hey, all right, magicturtle. Yeah, the biggest advantage is decentralization. Like, that's like the only advantage, honestly. And if you can make something truly trustless, which sort of works for like, kind of works for like transactions, maybe to a certain extent. You still get like 50% attacks and whatnot. I don't know, I'm trying to think. Like the main problem I have with the blockchain in and of itself, like the technology is interesting and it has some niche interesting outcomes, but it's basically just a fucking database. Do you know how much pollution? Yeah, but okay, first, that's basically whataboutism, Turtle. Like the utility of Bitcoin is literally just laundering money in a fundamental, like, creating that much pollution to launder money is, and you can argue for the like uselessness of smartphones and whatnot, but at least they like have more practical uses than the fucking half a Bitcoin I have sitting in an account that I originally bought to buy weed with. So, and like in general, that like looks like a whataboutism argument. Yeah, like the at the end of the day, outside of meme investment, crypto's current and historical only real use is literally laundering money, illegal transactions. Now it's presented as an investment asset, as a way of hedging against the loss of value. It originally was presented as a currency, which not many people argue against. So fucking wrong. All right. Do you want to hop in Discord if you're more comfortable, or if you're not comfortable, I'll just read your messages. In 2012, the majority of transactions were for darknet transactions. Yeah, but the thing is, no, but when I say utility, I'm specifically, one second, I'm smoking, no problem. When I say utility, I'm specifically thinking like, what's the actual fucking use? Like, right now, Bitcoin's flying around and shit, and it's not darknet transactions. I understand that, but people investing in Bitcoin is not utility. It literally is like, if you invest in a stock, you're actually allowing a company to monetize shares in itself to be able to invest and whatnot. Automation and the elimination of middlemen. Let me think about it for a second. Maybe you do have a point in there, but there's something that bothers me in that. I guess it's an investment in the technology, but then at that point, you're maybe legit better off just investing in a company that does research on blockchain than crypto. If that's actually what you're interested in, if you're interested in the prospects of the technology, Just invest in a specific application, like invest in fucking whatever, like Sushi Swap or whatnot, if that's what you're about, not the crypto itself. I don't know. There are corporations whose jobs can be done by code. The only way to have a trustful way to execute code is to run it decentralized. I'm really bothered by the trust issue with crypto though, because I feel like I have yet to see many. There are a few, but I have yet to see many applications of crypto that are not very niche and very specific that truly remove trust as a factor. They just keep pushing trust into a specific part of the whole issue. But at some point or other, you do still end up having some human beings have to intervening in some form. But like it depends on the things. Like if it's something like a cryptocurrency, then I actually agree. Like all the transactions can be validated in a network on the blockchain. Like that's been proven to work. I don't have an issue acknowledging that. But then we go back to the ecological issue. If you're having everyone verifying transactions, it's pretty wasteful compared to having one trusted person to verify transactions. Talking about business applications. Yeah, but then it's tied to cryptocurrency, and we still need to see cryptocurrency work in a non-wasteful manner. Because like I don't see smart contracts work without being tied to a cryptocurrency, because the transfer of money needs to be automated. Otherwise, you still end up with some trust. Art markets, we already discussed it in chat. Because the art is still a physical object. If it's digital art, sure, but if it's physical art, I still take issue with that. And like when we discussed it in chat, you already know where I'm going to talk at. Like someone has the Mona Lisa, they authentify it because it's the real Mona Lisa. Then they make a really convincing forgery, and they sell their token together with the forgery, and the forgery suddenly becomes the real Mona Lisa as far as the art market is concerned. But they've kept the original, and they know that it's their original. They've kept it. You haven't disincentivized forgery. Purely digital art marketplace. Okay, then we agree. We're buying essentially the signature. Then we agree. Yeah, because all you're buying is a certificate of authenticity. You're not actually buying the piece of art if we're talking about physical art. Or like you're still going through the same hoops as for traditional art, which I remember was a discussion we had. That's why I thought they were alluding to that. Art markets can enforce royalties for the artists. Yeah, sure, that can be built in, like baked into the transactions in the market system. You can enforce that legally, but then you would have to track down transactions and stuff. Like you could still have a black market for the for physical art that doesn't give the royalties back and whatnot. For sure, like pirating if it's music, or just like a black market for art for like paintings. That would work. But I mean, physically speaking, we do already have royalties for like music, for example. Health insurance is going to be transformed. I'm curious to hear about that. I tried listening to Mark Cuban talk about it in the fee stuff, and he was talking about some other shit that like triggered the fuck out of me, and I either missed when he was talking about health insurance, or I just stopped listening to him beforehand. The only way I see health insurance being transformed, like the thing I want to see, that's never going to happen because there's no money to be made in it. I would like to see truly like anonymized transactions with your health insurance, where the health insurance can no longer collect data on the people they're insuring through proper cryptographic technology. That would mostly be based on like blockchain and zero knowledge proofs. But there's no money in that, honestly. Like there is money in that if you create an insurance company that does it, and people opt into that, you have like a competitive advantage compared to other insurance companies and people caring about it. But I'm afraid it's not going to happen, because insurance companies can gain so much money off of farming your data that any insurance company that opts for like no data collection in a trustless manner, which I agree is possible, and this would be an amazing outcome from blockchain. Any company that does that would basically have a huge uphill battle to fight to convince people to like care about it, and they should. But I hope they do. I actually would love to see that come into fruition. You can enforce that in the physical. Hey, thanks for the follow, Odin. Funny, you can make the initial bootstrapping lucrative. That's like a total non-issue in crypto. Yeah, but like that's also, like, then we go back to the issue. Like, I have no problem with the what we just talked about. Having like properly anonymized health insurance history and stuff like that. I have a problem with it going through crypto. Crypto currently is proof of work and extremely wasteful. Proof of concept stuff, the theoretical outlines are there. Ethereum claims it's working, is going to be there soon, but how soon? And is it actually going to work out? And also, I haven't looked that far into it. Tyrant believes, I don't know if I agree with him. I don't think I do, but he believes proof of share is has the problem of giving power to people who already have shares in the crypto, in the sense that they will they'll get, because if I understand correctly, the current ideas for implementation of proof of ownership, sorry, that's the correct term, proof of stake, yeah, proof of stake. The current ideas for proof of stake are that if you have a certain stake in the crypto, you're able to then sign off on and validate transactions. So you no longer have the artificial work. You only have the pretty small work of like signing transactions off, and then you get the newly minted coin that are shared among people in the pool of the proof of stake. The slight problem then is that those who already have a stake are the only ones who have access to more stakes, and those who have big stakes will get the bigger share of newly minted coins. That's kind of an issue, I think. I don't fully understand the healthcare topic with blockchain. Would the goal be to get away from regular insurance for single payer? The main benefit I see that I was mentioning was that you could create a situation where health insurance companies know that because health insurance companies, let me describe it exactly. Health insurance companies would get access to a cryptographically secure that like blockchain. The VOD's recorded. You can check it out. All of the VODs are on my YouTube channel, unless I watch some dumb shit that got them like banned from YouTube, like for DMCA shit. That happened like once. But all of my VODs are on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. Otherwise, I also leave the Twitch VODs on because I usually am pretty careful with DMCA stuff. But those are like on a time limit. Oh yeah, so what I was saying, you got a cryptographic blockchain. And you have blockchain, you can have like a doctor sign in your medical data on the blockchain, then the pharmacy accesses it to make sure that your prescription is correct and that you're getting the right medication and whatnot. The pharmacist accesses it, then the pharmacist signs off that you're getting the medication, and now then a message gets sent to the insurance company. Check out this data. It's been signed by the verified doctor. It's been signed by a verified pharmacist, and the insurance company can verify that the transaction and the sum of money is correct and legit, without knowing what medication you actually got prescribed. or actually they might not even have access to the actual. You can probably make it so they don't even have access to the actual money and the like cost of the transaction. They would only end up knowing how much they owe you. You could probably like code it all the way through where they only know how much money they have to give you. They could still mine that data, but that would severely limit like any sorts of pre-existing condition data collection and stuff like that, which I think would be a net positive for humanity. Fuck, I'm gonna cut the music off. Alright, see you, funny bunny. And that's something I would like to see in general. But I already thought of like problems with it, right? Hey.
What's up, man?
What's up? How you doing?
All right.
What do you want to talk about first? Because I said a few things that triggered you, right?
Oh yeah, the like pollution caused by blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
That is hilarious. Hilarious. It is a total meme argument. Okay, if you want to complain about some sort of pollution in the world, talk about an issue that matters in terms of pollution. Blockchain does not fucking matter in the grand scheme of things. It is mind-boggling. I guess the people who kept on saying, "Oh no, Bitcoin's backed by nothing," just I guess moved on from that argument to, "Oh, look at all the electricity it costs. Like it's a lot of electricity." Meanwhile, they're on iPhones, they're using computers, they're driving cars, they're eating food that was shipped over shipping containers over the sea using mass amounts of waste. Like, it is fucking insane. Like, just.
Okay, first, I already said that to me is like really whataboutism.
It's
like the second part of what you said.
You
literally said like, what about those other things that pollute? Sorry,
you're disparaging a budding economic sector over something that affects every single economic sector that exists. So it doesn't make.
So we can't criticize it because it's budding.
No, you can't there's no logical chain from I care about the greenhouse gases, I care about economic or the environment. Sorry. Care about the environment. There's no chain from that to jump to crypto is the issue. Crypto's the problem. They're the ones that are creating the pollution. That's not what's happening. That is not true.
I don't think anyone who criticizes crypto for that thinks crypto is the problem. I feel like that's a bit of a straw man in the sense that
we need to get rid of
crypto
iPhones because it creates too much pollution.
Crypto is a problem. That's what people are saying.
Copper wiring, because the copper wire extraction industry creates too much pollution. We need to get rid of copper wires. That's my retort to that type of position. So let's move on to a different topic.
No, okay? Please let me address what you're saying at least. Or unless you want to make like several points, in which case I have to start taking notes. If you want to talk for longer.
No, go on.
Okay. Then in that case, let's stay on this topic for a second, please. Also, it's mostly who is this elite memer? I'm talking with magicturtle. It's very much a cost-benefit issue, where obviously you see great benefits from crypto,
No. You're already way off the track. Okay, the costs that we are currently paying to like the banking industry, for instance, okay, we're storing our money. They guarantee that we can withdraw our money out, and they're lending money out to people. The cost that you are paying between the difference in the interest that banks earn on your money versus what you are earning is massive, okay? Insane levels.
You realize when I make a transaction with my Bitcoin, I'm paying more than I've ever paid a bank for a transaction?
Bitcoin is not going to be for personal savings. Bitcoin is going to be a true digital gold. It's going to be I mean, it's sort of a meme. It's crazy because like people who talked like this in 20, like these people existed in 2012 and they talked like this. Uh, very a small minority. Most people in that time who were like idealists believed Bitcoin would be a digital currency that everybody would use as digital currency. No,
Yep.
it's not going to be a digital currency. Nobody is ever. If you're using Bitcoin to buy a Tesla, you're a effing idiot. You're an idiot. Okay, and whoever you're giving your Bitcoin over to deserves it for accepting that. Bitcoin is a store of value like gold, except it is infinitely better than gold when used in an institutional setting. For the traceability, the mathematical knowability that you can prove there's only going to be I think it 10 million or 20 million Bitcoin, um, infinitely better than gold. Okay. And so yeah. So what was the original point?
I was gonna let you go on, and then like I started taking notes and let you. Okay, because okay, okay. What about the iPhones? It's still like, what about the iPhones? I can't concede that.
It's a nonsensical argument. There's no reason to be making that argument. If you want to make a reasonable argument, just find a point that makes sense. It doesn't make sense to have a tantrum over the electrical and power usage of the Bitcoin blockchain when you're fucking using a modern device. It just doesn't make any
So
sense.
does it bother you so much that people who perceive no utility from Bitcoin and perceive utility from other things see Bitcoin electricity usage as a waste? Like they literally don't perceive utility. That's the definition of a waste. It's up to you to convince them that it's useful.
Do you think banks create waste? Economic waste.
Economic waste? Do banks create
Yes.
economic waste? What do you mean by that?
Do you think there's value that is created by your money when you give it over to a bank that you never see?
In principle, no.
Because if there is, you don't think there is. Okay.
In principle, in practice, there are specific practices that are wasteful by banks for sure. But like to discount the entire principle of banking, I think
no. You misunderstand me.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
talking about the organizations that say they're a bank and perform banking operations for you. Do you think that that organization creates value from your money that you never see?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Exactly. Okay. So what makes that loss of value from your money any different than the electrical waste created by an industry? Okay. Because you realize like there's a whole market now, huge industry for like purchasing basically like shares in a company that represent like carbon neutral footprint. Like it's like a negative carbon type share or something like that. So what distinguishes the dollar numbers that you never see that are stolen from you to the economic or the environmental impact of the electricity that is used?
Because I think there's it's not at all the same thing to lose because what you're literally describing is that like basically the bank's share of profit. You put money in the bank speculates with it, and then you get a small percentage of the profit from that. The bank gets the lion's share. Like you get your savings account at like 2-3%, whatever. If it even beats inflation, you're lucky. and then they pocket the rest of the money. It's waste. What? Sorry.
I mean, there is that, but just to add on top of that, there is additional efficiencies in using smart contracts to do banking operations. But you know that that's more of an accentuation to the point I'm making than
Okay.
what's needed.
But regardless, wasted electricity is sure, it uses the word waste, but it's a total non-equivalency. It's an economic waste only in the sense that it's money that has been produced by my property that I'm not accessing, but the money is still there. If electricity is being used on something that has no tangible worth or utility, it's just gone. The energy has gone to entropy.
Like
whereas the money doesn't disappear into entropy. It goes into someone else's pockets, but it doesn't fucking disappear.
Like, what about light bulbs?
What about them?
I think we should pass a law that forces everybody to get rid of light bulbs that aren't, LED, basically 30,000, 40,000 plus hour bulbs. I think there's too much waste involved in the light bulb industry.
That law would be stupid, but why not? Why not? I don't know why we're talking about this, but if you wanted
why is that long? Wait. I want.
Yeah. Let me finish my thought.
This topic is super important to me, so I want to talk about the light bulbs, if you can.
Yeah, I understand, and let me finish my thought. Like, I barely said 3 words, and you're already interrupting me.
No,
the way that you would enact that policy is you would simply make it enforce it so that the light bulb makers only sell light bulbs. Are only allowed to sell light bulbs that correspond to specific.
I know, but my concern are the current bulbs that are out there that are creating waste and pollution by misusing electricity.
Oh, you don't touch them. Yeah, they're gonna die out anyways.
What?
They already exist, so like they're gonna get burned out. Doesn't matter. But all new light bulbs are gonna be LEDs. That's how you address those kinds of policies.
They're in the market. They're out there. There's probably several years of supply out there already.
I don't know how.
What I want to do is I want to go get rid of them, and I don't understand why you don't want to go get rid of them if they're creating economic and potentially misusing electricity and creating pollution.
First off, like a light bulb, fucking having light in the nighttime is way more use than having crypto sitting behind a hash.
Okay, here is my position.
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin, if adopted by all institutional banks, if it replaced, which I believe is going to happen, but if it replaced gold completely, it would save on pollution massively because the gold markets would go to shit. The gold extractors would massively contract in size. There'd be less mining operations, and the gold and the only usage for gold would be real utilities like electronics and also I'm sure like the obviously culturally gold has a huge foothold in a lot of places in the world.
Well, so symbolically,
jewelry is still going to that's still going to exist. But in terms of institutional and market usage, I think Bitcoin is absolutely going to replace gold, and I believe that represents a huge cost savings. And those savings, you can contribute those savings like it creates a cost savings, and then additionally you can then spend that cost savings on carbon neutral footprint, whatever environmental resource you want. Like there's like operations that basically take carbon out of the air. There's, take carbon
Um,
out, stuff out of pollution out of the water,
all right,
different things like that.
can I address that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think first off, like, yeah, it wouldn't kill the gold industry. Gold mining would still go on, and even it would maybe eventually be possible to kill out like but just the same as Bitcoin can be a store of value just by its like inherent rarity. The existence of Bitcoin, and the existence of gold doesn't mean that people don't use Bitcoin as a store of value. Vice versa will also happen. Like even if Bitcoin becomes more and more popular, people aren't just going to abandon gold. Like if you want to diversify,
No,
you can have like
is
a bit of gold.
better form of gold
Yeah, like,
from
people
an institutional
and
perspective.
and platinum is a better form of gold.
No.
Like people diversify. I don't think it can ever
You
disappear as an
misunderstand.
investment asset.
Bitcoin is better than platinum as well. You misunderstand what's happening here. Okay, we're talking about mathematical scarcity. When you use something as a store of value, the scarcity matters. If all of a sudden, there's a huge pile of it all of a sudden that nobody knew about, and then it's all of a sudden public, that will have a massive impact on the markets. What we are talking about here is the evolution of store of value and the evolution of gold and savings markets and banks. It's a total leap forward. Okay, I like the fact that you compared it to platinum. That's ridiculous. Okay, it's
The
totally
problem
ridiculous.
is like, do you understand why certain elements are rarer than others? Do you know like what's behind that?
Well, there's the physical supply
Yeah, but why is the physical supply different for those certain elements? Why do you have like a shit ton of
because
iron, but
Earth has a certain amount of physical matter in it.
okay, let me just hop into physics for a real
Okay,
short
no,
second.
it's made by a star. Amazing. We
Yeah,
all
no, it's
blows my mind,
farther than
right?
that. No, further than that. I'm not condescending to you. Please don't take this defensively. It's just like an interesting thing with, since we're talking about scarcity. Different nuclei have different like points of stability.
This doesn't mean anything. This is useless. Why are you going into this step?
Oh,
This is just semantics. You're talking about proton counts. Come on.
yeah, yeah, and like gold, gold and platinum are rare elements because they happen to just like not be formed in
Yeah, but they're
stable
rare
forms.
if Earth was totally made out of platinum, it would not be a rare substance. So it doesn't
Yeah, absolutely.
that's totally irrelevant. Okay. What matters is
Yeah,
the
but you're never
physical
gonna find a
supply on
planet made
Earth.
of platinum.
What
That was my
matters
point.
is the physical supply on Earth. That's what creates scarcity. But the
Yeah.
physical supply is unknown. It's a little hazy. We're not
Okay.
sure about it.
Anyways, regardless of that, I just want to argue that the scarcity as a theoretical point, yes, Bitcoin is much better on scarcity. That being said,
And traceability.
the scarcity of gold and other rare metals is pretty
trustability.
strong. And
How do you wait. How do you know 100%
no, I don't know it 100%.
when
I
you
said pretty strong. I didn't
No,
guarantee
no.
it.
Okay, how do you you don't even know what I'm asking. How do you know
That
100%
doesn't stop you from
when
interrupting
you
me. But go
buy
ahead.
a share on Robinhood or whatever marketplace for gold, some share that represents gold?
Mhm.
How do you know that there's gold in a store in some vault that represents that? How do you know for sure?
That's
Is there like a huge process you'd have to go through? Like how do you ascertain that?
That's honestly not something I'm want to address. I want to simply speak about the fact that actually that does touch upon the second point I want to make. Like Bitcoin has the advantage, I guess, of the scarcity. Gold has the advantage of you if you go the way you said, like sure, through Robinhood having some share in a stockpile somewhere, that you don't have any physical access to the actual physical object, and that does not make it any better than Bitcoin truly. as a store of value, except for like investment memes. And on that I'll agree. But
Okay,
if you do actually buy a bar of gold that you can physically hold and have access to, then that is pretty different to having Bitcoin. Like you don't need a computer to access your store of value, for example.
Well, what's easier to transact with, a physical bar of gold or a Bitcoin?
I
Now,
would
I'm not
say
even
Bitcoin,
arguing
yeah.
for as a means of, I mean, the settlement does happen. I mean, that is the point of the blockchain network, is to settle transactions and things like that.
Well,
But
that being said,
just to be clear, I'm not advocating for Bitcoin as a use of a currency.
yeah, I understand. We're only talking about store of value for sure. Actually, being in that situation where like I currently have Bitcoin and I want to and I actually do want to liquidate at least part of it, since it's so valuable, and probably keep a bit just in case it goes higher.
My man, don't
And
do that. Just hold it. Just hold it.
why not take my profits?
Okay, if
Any
you
good
want to take
investor
profits,
knows to take their
wait 10
profits.
years. Just wait 10 years, then take your, or 5 years and take your profits. I promise
And
you will be happier then. You will be happier then.
okay, I don't care. Let's say stick at this subject. I want to liquidate at least part of it. I need to go through so many hoops of like just in order to liquidate it. It's not that far from like if I had a bar of gold, I would have to like I would actually it would be easier for me to liquidate that. Sorry, go ahead.
Do you not have a Coinbase account? Do you not know how easy it is? Like, it is incredibly easy to sell Bitcoin. What are you talking about?
I've actually been encountering problems. Those are like specific to like administrative issues. They have fucking. I gave them my social security number, and they fucking want me to send a scan of my social security card that I don't have. Sorry.
You're probably using some really old marketplace.
I don't remember if it was Coinbase or something else, but I tried an American marketplace.
I mean, it's KYC. If you're selling an amount that you need to KYC for, you have to KYC, and you just better hope that you're using a good marketplace. If you're using a shitty marketplace, and like I don't mean to disparage these people, but there's a marketplace called KuCoin that is sort of semi-notorious for having terrible customer service that takes really long to process your KYC. But that's all just that's because they're following the law. Like that's just at that amount of money, that's just normal. That's just how it is.
Sure, but my point being, like, if I have store value in gold, it's not that hard for me to just physically take my gold and go to there's plenty of places that deal with that.
No, you're supposed to account for it and report it the same way that I mean, technically you won't
That's the same for Bitcoin for me.
KYC process, but you would have to go through a reporting process. So, the KYC process is a one-time thing on a marketplace. The reporting process, if you're doing private transactions, that's every single transaction. You need to write up the paperwork and file that if you're doing, large enough that you would have to file for it. So, that's just, like I said, that's just how it is when you're dealing with large enough amounts.
That's pretty specific, maybe to U.S. tax law. I don't.
If you want to take profit, what I would honestly recommend.
No, wait, no. Let's stick to the subject. I don't want.
Related to that.
I don't want. Okay, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
In the future, I mean, even right now, people don't sell their Bitcoin. What they do is they take out a loan against it, like a 2% loan, 2% APY, 4% APY loan against it.
Okay, no, look,
Social has a point. I'm not saying like, you give a Bitcoin to some bank and take out a, large loan. I'm saying there are services on Ethereum where it's all totally automated, where you can put it in. It has an Oracle price that is reading the price of your Bitcoin. And you can take out the minimum, I think, is 100. Is like your collateral, your Bitcoin needs to be 150% of your loan, but that's like liquidation ratio. So you want to be at like 400, 500%. So Bitcoin could drop 10, it could lose a fifth of its value, a sixth of its value, and you still wouldn't be liquidated. But yeah, that's what people are doing, and that's what people are going to do in the future when Bitcoin is $1 million per Bitcoin. Okay.
Okay. Can I respond, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yes, with even with Bitcoin, I need to save my transactions to like pay taxes on them afterwards. That's not a difference between Bitcoin or gold.
I mean,
At
yeah,
the end of the day, once again, you haven't to me demonstrably proven that there's sure, Bitcoin has the guaranteed scarcity. Gold has an actual physical object. As an investor, it's up to you, whichever is better for you. Both kind of have the same thing of being a store of value that
I
doesn't
don't
actually
understand
have
why.
much utility in your
Why
day-to-day
don't you
life.
see it? Why don't you see it as a much easier version of gold to transact with from an investor's point of view?
It depends on what I value. Maybe I value being able to still have my value of the in the object, even if my computer fucking melts down and I.
No, no, you don't have to. You don't have to physically own. You don't have to like physically host your own wallet. You could get it on Coinbase, and
Yeah, but
you
what
have
if I
F-
like no? What if the internet shuts down? Like,
What if the internet shuts down? Really?
yeah,
I mean, if the internet shuts down, all of banking is might be fucked as well.
yeah,
So
and then I'm
like,
pretty fucking happy to
all
have a
the
gold
goes
bar.
down, we might be in a fucking nuclear war. Like, what do you mean if the internet goes like that is so what?
That is
Like that is really like where I go. I might think that there might be nuclear war if like there's a solar flare and all of the internet, all of it is totally fucked. That's where my mind goes. So the fact that you're worrying about like okay, I guess I don't know.
in Odin says in war-torn, undeveloped places, gold is king for that exact reason. Yeah, you don't need like the entire world to fall apart. I mean, having war happen is pretty much your entire world falling apart.
In third world countries, Bitcoin is absolutely making a huge, massive difference. Like in Africa, it is making a huge difference. And blockchain, not just gold or not just Bitcoin, but Ethereum and all these platforms. Like there's like games on Ethereum, like little projects that have games where you can like basically earn in-game currency. There are people in these third world countries who are making like like a month's wage in their country by playing this game on Ethereum and earning in-game currency. It's eh,
Yeah, I seen that
the
stuff where
amount
you can like make games and
the
get
amount
microtransactions in Ethereum and shit. Um,
of discounting of the actual work and products and services and applications that are developed on blockchain that the rest of the world applies to their view of it is insane in my opinion.
to be fair, Odin, as much as the states need to be at least stable to have like basic electricity infrastructure, and the people need to have access to the technology. Phone usage has, to my knowledge, been pretty well democratized in even the poorer countries of the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, absolutely. They all have
I don't know
phones.
how smartphone usage has gone, because that's kind of what we're talking about here. That's like the
Yeah,
level above
I
that.
think they have it's like 5 generations, 6 generations behind, but, like, all the old phones that you turned in to, like, swap out, that goes to, like, the 3rd world.
Also, you can take that gold bar and turn it into. I mean, that's my whole point. The gold bar is like literally a physical object. You can be out of electricity, out of anything, and you still have a gold bar. You don't have a Bitcoin if you don't have any of those things. Like, but all I'm saying is that there are pros and cons. It's not like a clear objective win for Bitcoin in all scenarios,
It
which seems to be what you were advocating
well,
earlier.
unless you're trying to use it for jewelry or a chipset. If a chipset for some reason needs gold, then yeah, you're correct, but in every other instance, in the majority of usage well, no, actually, no, it's actually, like, close to 50-50. I think it's like 40-60 around there, something like that, where 40% is for jewelry, 60% is investing. I think it's something like that. But you know, a ton like 50% of the usage of gold is just store value. It's just like as a thing, as something to store.
And all I'm saying is I don't think that's going to change with Bitcoin being another store of value. There's no reason to abandon gold as a store of value simply because
There
Bitcoin
are
exists.
there are literal risks involved with gold that are eliminated by Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Don't you
and there are
understand?
risks involved with Bitcoin that are eliminated with
What are,
gold. It's
okay,
you hedge your bets. You never go full. You never, like, when you have a lot of money and you're thinking about
the risk.
investing, you diversify.
Convey to me the risks.
Not having access to internet is one big one if you actually need to
If
move it
you're
around.
an investor, you're an investor and you have invested in gold, or you're a bank and you're storing gold, that's in a database stored on an electronic device. If the internet goes
I
away, the
already
only way
admitted,
that
if
can happen
I already
is
conceded,
a
if
solar flare.
that's how you own your gold, then honestly it's functionally it's the same as owning Bitcoin at that point. Yes, except it's a
Worse
different
than
asset behind it, but yeah, it's the same.
worse.
And in that specific instance, yeah, I
That,
agree.
like, I mean, you realize that market is like $100 trillion, right? Or I don't know. That's just based on my memory. I was looking at a graph pretty recently when Bitcoin's market cap hit 1 trillion. Might be 10 trillion. I don't know. Let me double check that.
I okay.
Yeah,
What
it's
do you think
10
about
trillion.
moving on from this subject, or unless you
We can move on to another subject. I think we've talked. I mean, like, to be
because we've
clear,
talked a bit about the
I'm not even a Bitcoin nut. I'm
sorry.
way, 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 way hard bullish on the decentralized smart contract, the Ethereum, Solidity, these different platforms that are creating uh, essentially just Internet 3.0, a more trustable way to interact with our money in an interoperable way where we don't have to trust a third party, a bank, a investor advisor, or PayPal, or and we don't have to trust that. It's a smart contract. We can read the code. And obviously most people aren't going to get to that point, but the fact that the core layer, the spine of this Internet 3.0 is being built by open source code that everybody can read is a big deal to me. Um, you
I
know,
understand that, and I honestly want to talk about that. I actually think that's maybe where we'll have the most agreement. But I need to grill you on the fucking pollution thing, because I still feel like your take really was that people want to outlaw Bitcoin because it consumes a lot of electricity. When
my take is that it's a total nonsensical argument. It just does. If you care about the environment, there are more meaningful issues to talk about, and you
that's
should be
such a
talking
bad
about them.
argument,
No,
though.
it's not.
You can
This is
criticize
meaning.
things even if there
No,
are
no, no, no,
worse
no,
things
no, no, no,
happening in
no.
the world. That's like such an easy thing.
What if I acted like I cared about the environment and all I complained about, the only thing I complained about, and the biggest thing that I made a stink about was um the graphite in number two pencils, because the graphite extraction industry creates pollution.
Yeah, I
Um,
get your point,
let's
but do you see
let's
how that
do a
is
Google
strawman?
search.
You built up the
No, it's not
strawman
a
of a person
strawman.
who only cares about
I
crypto.
I what is the resolution that a person said that a person is proposing that says, "Oh, I don't like that Bitcoin uses electricity." What is the what is the solution that they propose?
So
Because
you need to
it
already
sounds
have a
like they're
solution to
just
point out a
saying,
problem.
"This is bad and we shouldn't do it." That's what it sounds like they're saying a lot of the time. What I've seen this argument for years, okay? It's been around, okay? It's
Yeah,
not all of a sudden new.
yeah, I know. Look,
What is the solution that they propose? And also, why is this what they care about versus,
why?
like, can we both Google, like, biggest pollution by
No,
percentage
I
or
don't want to go into whataboutism, please. I
no,
like
whataboutism. It's we
I'm
both care
pushing you.
about the environment, and we wanna figure out what is the most effective way we can direct our resources to save the environment. That's that, like,
Why
and
is
it's
this
not
a hill to
not
die on? Like,
like
I'm trying to
focusing on
push you towards talking about proof of stake and like alternatives, not
Bitcoin is never
defend proof
going
of
to proof of
work.
stake. Bitcoin is never going to proof of stake. Maybe in like 50 years, it's possible. I don't know what's gonna happen then when basically there's no more Bitcoin to mine, but would probably be some changes then to the fee structure, but it's never going to proof of stake.
Actually, yeah, probably not. But I honestly, what I'd like to see is like an actual crypto work on proof of stake or any other alternative that would not be that would not be
Also, just to let you know, I'm not
proof
reading
of work.
chat, so
Yeah, I
no.
just realized I shouldn't be reading. I was reading chat in the middle of the sentence and like distracted me. I like proof of work. Like what I feel it's a really strawman argument is that what you have to acknowledge that what people are actually criticizing is proof of work when they're criticizing that. They're not criticizing Bitcoin or crypto. They're criticizing proof of work because until now sorry, go.
I mean, there's a whole economic system that is designed by proof of work. Like you know, I can understand somebody just having a general opinion that, you know, waste is bad, but if you care about the environment, you should be looking in yourself and you should be questioning, is this the proper way to save the environment? Does this matter? If Bitcoin went away, does that mean the environment's saved? Or proof of work went away, does that mean all of a sudden the environment is saved? Or is there a path forward where we actually migrate to a blockchain-focused, uh, economic system where you're actually saving money and generating more value, where then you can then actually reinvest into saving the economy or reinvest or even just on a more basic level, what should you be focusing your attention on if you care about the environment? Like it doesn't make sense to me to have that as a criticism for blockchain or proof of work or anything at all, because it's just from a numbers perspective, it's just irrelevant. It, I just don't get it. I don't know. I don't know,
So
man. I don't think it's a real argument, and I think it is sort of do you know that Schiff guy? Do you know what I'm talking? Peter Schiff.
rings a bell.
He's basically some millionaire or something. He's huge gold bug. He loves gold. And he has for years and years and years and years and years called Bitcoin a scam. It's going to zero. It's backed by nothing. And that is his whole shtick. That is why he gets attention. That's why he's known, is because he keeps saying Bitcoin's going to zero. That's exactly like 100% why he's like has any relevancy at all right now. And because he has relevancy and people are provocative and those arguments get attention, but it's not based on anything, and it's nonsensical, and there's been a lot of people who've uh, uh, roasted him.
It seems okay. So regardless of Peter Schiff, so you believe that the inefficiencies in current banking and economic systems, well, specifically banking, are so great that even a system as inefficient as Bitcoin
No,
will
Bitcoin's not
still
going to
bring
replace
a. Well, sorry,
it's going
what?
to replace Bitcoin will replace a very specific um treasury utility or like treasury option for like large scale corporations and organizations such as banks, but not exclusively banks,
Oh yeah,
but
obviously yeah, because it's not we
more
acknowledge it's
so
not a currency, so it's only replacing yeah.
Ethereum and smart contracts are going to replace banks.
Okay, so let's stick with Bitcoin just as for value. So in this,
Oh,
it's in this very specific use case. So
like I
it's not
said,
replacing banks.
like I love Bitcoin, but I'm not a Bitcoin bug. I'm
Yeah,
a
sure.
smart contract.
Um, what how is there so much inefficiency in the current systems in place that replacing them with
because you have
Bitcoin when it
to pay,
uses
you
so
have to
much
pay or
when it uses so many resources that will actually give us a total net sum of like more efficiency.
because there are so many employees that the bank is employing to do like fuck all, really. Like write in, to press buttons, that's what they're doing. Um, and then when you eliminate all those wages and then you direct all of the returns, maybe like, there might be like a 5% or 10%, depending upon different projects, cut that like the protocol gets to keep as a whole, um, which, there's a whole economic incentive system that's designed there into it. When you get like 90%, 95% of, or even in some cases 100% of the total actual value of your money that's being lent out, yeah, that's a lot of that. It turns into a huge difference. For instance, let me pull up some interest rates right now.
Hey Popoji, thanks for the follow. Bitte. Please.
So right now you can get the growth is calculated at 14.15% APR on US dollars in Yearn Finance, which is probably the largest vault like protocol that lends money out to get return. Let's look at Cream. I mean, Cream is like Yearn basically integrates a bunch of lending platforms to then get you the best yield. Cream is a lending market itself, right? Um, connect a wallet. Hold on, sorry. I mean, my point here is that yes, like there is huge costs to using the traditional system that is abstracted and hidden from you, and has been hidden from people for decades. And this isn't like a conspiracy. This is just business.
Yeah,
If
I
you
understand.
run, a lending operation, you're not going to tell your customer, "Oh yeah, I'm getting 100% on your money, and I'm giving you 1%." You're just not going to say that. You know,
What if the thing is, there's a third alternative, right? You could integrate the automation and efficiencies of well, just automate things more and have them be more efficient, but
yeah, but then
also
you have to
not
trust a party. You have to trust some centralized party to automate it
yeah
at that point.
and not require decentralization, which introduces a lot of inefficiency. Is it that
I
important to have
I
decentralized banking?
I think the decentralized part is the only way you can get rid of. I mean, how else do you get rid of a centralized party that you have to trust?
Is it that important? Do we have
If
that
if
big of a
you
trust
if
problem with our
if
banks?
if I mean, why is it an issue though? I mean, like if this decentralized platform, Ethereum, is offering like total interoperability between marketplaces and assets, and I can deposit my money into Yearn Finance and then get a token back, and then I can use that as collateral somewhere else to get a loan, and then I can use that loan to these are services that are not offered to the normal customer. These are services that are only offered to institutional clients. But with a decentralized open source backbone like Ethereum or another smart contract platform, these services can all be built and offered to everyday people, everyday people. And in terms of, I mean, we can get this is probably another topic that we'll move on to, but yeah, we can get to scaling in a bit.
Yeah, that's still you can still have those services be offered to people through a centralized system. That still doesn't connect for me.
How do
Like
you know your money's worth then?
How do you know your money's worth then?
Yeah,
We have.
how do you know what cut the
Oh,
centralized party is taking?
I think a system of auditing introduces less efficiencies overall than
I don't
entirely decentralizing.
I think no. Auditing? Really? You think auditing is going to be less expensive? Auditing a corporation? Dog, do you like, no, you're wrong. You're just wrong, okay? Like, the regulators at the bank introduce a lot of friction, okay? And that's their purpose, okay? But if we put it on open source, we don't need to have auditors. It's all open source. We can audit it right here. We can have coders audit it, you know? That's my point.
Hmm. I guess I guess that's rough because like there's probably we probably don't have the tools to quantify the exact costs involved here to like arrive at the to like see which one of us is right about whether which system would be more efficient as a sum total.
Why do you think
Um,
a centralized party would outperform an open interoperable system?
Sorry, can you repeat that? You cut
Why do
off.
you think a centralized party would outperform an open and interoperable system where the end user can look at a marketplace of different aggregators and yield, providers, and they can choose who they want and who offers the best yield. Like
Because the keyword
every
isn't the interoperability or whatnot. The keyword is decentralized versus decentralized. A decentralized system requires verification of things on a decentralized scale by many different agents, whereas a centralized system, you don't have to repeat the same work of verification that many times. So it's gonna
you're,
be more
you're,
efficient at that point.
um, you're I don't want to be rude, okay? But I feel
Mhm.
like you're talking about stuff that you don't understand. Um, you're talking about the blockchain confirming things multiple times. I don't know what you're talking about there. The blockchain, when blocks are confirmed, it's confirming transactions
Yep.
and it updates the ledger,
Yep.
right? It's not confirming transactions over and 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 over again. It's just, the network comes to consensus and then it's blocks confirmed.
Yeah, but the coming to consensus is where the work is happening.
On a individual node operator perspective, sure, but,
Yeah.
you're earning fees from that.
Yeah, you're earning fees from that, but I'm not talking from
Fees
the.
from that
I'm not talking
paid
about.
by operators who are executing transactions on Ethereum.
But the thing is, like, if you could see the way I see it, you could see a bank as literally like with all its transactions and all its accounts. You could see a bank as a blockchain with a single node, right?
Uh, yeah, a ledger.
Yeah. So a blockchain with a single node, a single ledger, will have less work to do
How do
to
you plug into that
handle.
bank?
Sorry.
If I wanna offer a service to all the people who put money into Bank of America, how do I offer my service to those people? I can't. I have to offer my service to the bank and hope this centralized authority is going to, interoperate with me and coordinate and, we'll get a business agreement. And on blockchain, the user, the person who owns the money, who deposited their money, has full custody. They get a token back that represents their money. They can, like,
Wait, can you elaborate on what you mean by service?
what do you mean?
because like if we mean in the most general sense of the term, you any businessman that offers a service that's interoperable with every single bank through the means of fiat currency or like generally accepted currency. That's not really an issue. But I guess you're talking about specifically like what you were talking about earlier, like banking services. Not like bank services, but like loans and stuff like that, where you get into more
Yeah, it's
complex
about
deals. But
yeah, it's about capital efficiency, and this is what I'm trying to drive to you about the banks, okay? Your money is worth way fucking more than what you get at the bank. Okay. And if you make these systems open source and decentralized and open and non custodial, meaning you can deposit and withdraw at any time, you have full custody over your assets. No centralized party can take your money away. Um, you get an insane amount of value. And that's not I mean, obviously, do I foresee a 15% APY on your USD savings, for the next 10 years? No, that's probably gonna come down to, like, maybe 5%, maybe 4%, 3%. But it's gonna beat what the banks are giving you because the banks have to pay employees. They have so much overhead. It's just how they're set up, and they're set up that way for a reason.
let's be fair. It's kind of tangential, but like the S&P 500, like it literally an index on the S&P 500 is going to beat the banks pretty much
Yeah,
almost every
I
year.
mean, yeah, 100%, yeah. I mean,
Um,
you can argue against that. I mean, I'm just talking about dollar savings. That's
yeah. Shit, there was I didn't take notes while you were saying that. There was something I wanted to react to. Oh yeah. I don't know. I feel like I want to avoid this, like moving in circles. And you mentioned like services. And I feel like maybe that's a good moment to hop into like smart contracts and those kinds of things. What do you think? Or do you want to stay on the subject longer?
let's move on to. I mean, I sort of thought we were already on smart contracts. My bad.
Well, we were I guess we are like sort of moving on to them, yeah. Or dynamically over the course of the conversation, but I just wanted to make it like clear because like I like because to sum it up, and I'll let you like have the last word after, if you're okay with that, and then we go hopping fully into smart contracts. I feel like our fundamental disagreement then is on the exact size of those relative inefficiencies, right? On the one hand, the inefficiency of like the way blockchain networks are currently implemented with the energy costs and all that stuff, and on the other hand, the way banks and any like custodial services obviously introduce a lot of inefficiencies on their own hand, and like the relative net worth of those inefficiencies is it's like kind of hard to measure and compare right now, as well as the
I
potential for making more efficient systems, especially with blockchain later on. I don't think I absolutely don't doubt that we can arrive at better blockchain technologies that would be more efficient and fairer. I just don't really necessarily see them yet. Anyways,
you
that's why. All right, go ahead.
out yeah, you outlined 2 points that are valuable, but you missed the third point. The third point is that if you care about like the electrical waste from these blockchains, and you care about the environment, you should be asking yourself, is this going to make it like is this the um the topic that is going to make a big difference in waste? Is this or is if this was completely eliminated and all of Bitcoin blockchain waste went away, would that, like what type of difference would that actually make in the carbon emissions? My position is that it would be negligible to all the major contributors are huge. huge in comparison. And it seems nonsensical to me to have that be the driving argument against these systems. There's you could like, I would accept the, Bitcoin's backed by nothing argument more so than talking about the electrical waste.
Oh, can we go into a meme before going into smart contracts? I think there is an argument, and I'll accept saying the same thing about the investment side of gold. For of perfect fairness, I think that having an arbitrary object be a store of value is basically undistinguishable from a long-term Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, but that's also how a lot of our economic system's been designed for hundreds of years. So,
In what sense? What specific
as
parts?
we've used store of values for like thousands of
Yeah, yeah.
years.
Yeah, okay. Then we're in agreement. Okay. I was wondering if that was I thought it was gonna be a point of contention, but no. Okay, we're in agreement. Like a store of value basically, especially when it has no utilitarian value behind it, it basically functions as a like
Well, the value is
consensual Ponzi
culturally
scheme.
defined, right? I mean,
Sorry?
the value is culturally defined.
Yeah, yeah.
In
Well, by value I meant like utility. Like which we would have to like go further in the definitions, but I think you understand what I mean, right?
like a Picasso is a store of value because there's only so many Picassos in existence, right?
Yeah,
But if
sure.
nobody cared about a Picasso, nobody, then
Well,
we wouldn't have any store of value to it.
you could still burn it for heat, but yeah. All right. Smart contracts. I actually think. Okay, talk to me about health insurance, please.
Well, to get to health insurance, we would have to start with Nexus Mutual.
Nexus Mutual. I'm not familiar with that.
Nexus Mutual, a decentralized alternative to insurance.
All right. Use the power of blockchain, and it's on the Ethereum blockchain.
Yeah,
Authorized
so like
JavaScript.
basically, so imagine like an insurance system where people put money into a pool who are depositors, okay? And they are backing people's insurance claims or insurance, call contracts, if you will.
Mhm.
Um, and then there are people who are paying, who, pay some interest rate to have an insurance uh, uh, contract, essentially. Um, and then people who own the insurance claim can file basically, or like the people who own the insurance, essentially, they can file a claim in the network, and then there's like a decentralized vote between all the people who have deposited liquidity and money to back the system over whether that payout is legitimate. And then it gets paid out, and it's on a more broad scale, so would get paid out to all people within one instance. And the sort of uh like Nexus Mutual's sort of design is they're going for smart contract insurance. So theoretically, say you deposited some USDC, some US dollar cryptocurrency token into Yearn Finance, and they were earning yield on your tokens, but then you know crazy hack happens, and it turns out there was some very complicated vulnerability in the code where somebody made a super complicated transaction and they were able to basically start you know draining the pool of some funds. If that happened, you could file if you owned insurance on Nexus Mutual for that smart contract, for that project, Yearn Finance, you would be able to file a claim. And in this voting process for verifying if a claim is legit, there are there are like heavy penalties if you are on the wrong side of the vote. So if, you're trying to game the system by, acting like something didn't happen, you know, it's a very risky bet, and especially when, I mean, Nexus Mutual is huge, so there's a lot of um, sort of market makers and liquidity providers involved. So it's not something that is very beneficial to try to do. It's sort of like trying to take over a proof of stake network.
I see.
Oh,
So it's like a decentralized prisoner's dilemma about whether you could if everyone's you could like yeah halfway through I was wondering like how the hell do you incentivize people to actually pay out to valid insurance claims? It
there's
seemed
also
like
a
there's an
second
event.
layer as well, where like I believe they like there's like a first layer of like confirming, and then there's a second layer of voting where people are voting to confirm the authenticity of the people voting in the first layer. So it's sort of like a double whammy game theory.
I guess we'll have that has is do they already have contracts out? Is it like
Oh
being
yeah,
used in
yeah.
practice?
Nexus Mutual is huge. Yeah, absolutely. They're
Hmm.
used institutionally.
Okay, I'm curious to see how it happens if there will be like how it will go. I guess.
They've paid out multiple times already.
Sorry.
They've paid out multiple times already.
Okay, interesting. Because what I was describing earlier, which is where what I would like to see happen, at least in the world of health insurance, is a thing that would really connect. I guess like I guess Nexus Mutual kind of have a solution then with this like sort of prisoners dilemma thing and the voting for validating insurance claims or not.
No. So Nexus Mutual's current system is
Mhm.
not really designed for any sort of personalized claim. It's designed for protocol-wide claims. So, you can you basically say like, I'm purchasing a 3,000 DAI, which is a stable coin, claim on, this protocol, and it expires, in 2 months or something, and I'm paying, you know, like 5 cents or 10 cents on the dollar or something like that. And then you would hold that, and then if there was a hack during that time, you would be able to get, the 90 cents on the dollar that you were insuring. Does that make sense?
Okay. And how do they arrive at agreeing on that that a hack had occurred? I guess they just do you like trust the press release from the company and whatnot, or like
I mean,
can you
somebody,
fraud the system? I guess in either way, like not paying
yeah,
out on a
like,
valid claim
yeah,
or creating a false claim.
yeah, like just submitting like false claims. I believe you can,
Mhm.
um, but there's, well, I've read into this a while back. I'm pretty sure there's some sort of where you have to put some amount of capital up at stake to create a claim at all, to begin with, and then if it's not confirmed, then you lose that stake permanently.
Because like that's the problem I've had often with smart contracts is that when within the realm of this blockchain and smart contract, everything like fits perfectly together trustlessly, but it's when it's interfacing with the real world that you suddenly have all the same considerations that you have with conventional systems. You where you suddenly have to trust human beings again and like audit them or investigate their claims and make sure that that everyone's on the up and up. And that is one of the reasons I've mostly been skeptical of those as well, because if we are just like moving around the burden of trust, but it still is there, then
I mean, part of it is that, like, in some way, it's inherently impossible to escape politics whenever. I mean, they're you know, like um for instance, okay, so like Nexus Mutual has paid out one, two, um, three times is what I see here. Um, and there and basically each time there were basically claims, and also when I talked about there must be some stake that is lost if your claim is denied. I don't know if that's entirely sure. I need to clarify that, but I think there is some small cost to submitting a claim. But each time there were claims, there were some claims that were submitted early in the incident who were denied until the incident became more clear to the wider community, and then as sentiments basically shifted, the claims became accepted, and then it paid out on a protocol scale. But yeah, in some ways, it's impossible to escape politics whenever, because obviously all these things are. I mean, yes, like create the smart contract and upload it, and then it's there, and it can, keep running by itself infinitely, for all of time. But it'll keep doing exactly what it is. And if you want the protocol to develop and grow, usually that involves adding to it and changing it and having governance involvement and things like that. And so there's, people involved at the end of the day. But it's the same with like a corporation where people, you know, it's like a corporation where you have to trust that the people are acting in the best interest of the corporation or the protocol, but it's better because the hard assets of the corporation or the DAO in this instance, the smart contract, is the physical asset, is open source. You can see what it's doing. You can see what code, they've deployed, what they've built. You can see what the activity on chain. It's just yeah, people,
Yeah,
humans.
I'm really not a fan with the way conventional insurance works. There's a huge incentive for insurance companies not to give out payouts even for valid claims, and that's like
Yeah,
always
and
historically been a huge
and
problem.
with
And
insurance companies, they don't have to listen to their investors. They make a centralized decision based on like what they can get away with, right? But
I
in
mean, the
Nexus
board of
Mutual,
directors is gonna get
all
fucked
the
if they.
investors. Well, I mean, if if the if they can't get away with it, but
Yeah.
you know,
But what I
they've
was
pushed
trying.
deployments already.
What I was trying to finish there earlier was that um, there is some inherent value in an insurance claim of having like an actual investigation compared to having it be like a mob sentiment of like whether like the examples you were telling earlier, a claim is filed, but not even if people have heard about
Well, it's not
the
mob
incident.
sentiment, it's market dynamics, okay? If Nexus Mutual were not paying out on a legitimate hack, people would not use it, okay? Claims are like millions of dollars, tens and hundreds of millions of dollars are insured with Nexus Mutual. That money is not going to be in Nexus Mutual insurance claims if it turns out that they're not actually paying out. Okay, it's market dynamics. The it's just I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. That does seem also like a bit of a cop out in the sense that like just don't like people still do things that you would think the market would select against and make a lot of money off it. It doesn't just like magically all work work perfectly that way. Obviously, if it happens early on in the existence of the technology, when people will be like still skeptical of it and whatnot,
Yeah.
it'll be
Yes.
a big problem. But
Yeah, there is some volatility here to the stability of systems, but also I would say um, that like the larger it grows, the less likely for anything like that to happen. Um, just because of the more involvement from more players, more variety of opinions, more variety of assessments, more money at risk. People,
I would like to think that too, but if anything, the recent, for example, scandals around political intervention through astroturfing and botting social media, things like that, show that public opinion can be actually manipulated in pretty efficient ways.
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
I'm thinking about like like how bots are used on social media to manipulate public opinion, and how like could that
Uh,
be used to
the
put the question, for
people
example, the legitimacy of a claim and so
No,
on and so forth.
let me just correct this. The people who are voting in Nexus Mutual are the people who have deposited money to back the insurance claims of Nexus Mutual, and they earn revenue from the interest paid by people who are taking claim insurance
Yeah.
calls out. Um, so there there's no bot sentiment here. There are millionaires who are looking at the system, they're reading what is happening with a protocol, and they're making a decision. It's not, people who hold a claim don't get to vote on whether the claim is legit or not. Uh, People on Twitter don't get to vote on whether the claim is legit or not. It
So
is
you don't think those people who have a stake in the claim, who will vote on it, you don't think they will have their opinion can be manipulated?
not by fake accounts, no, because what they care about is what the official protocol that they are ensuring is saying. Okay, so when an official statement comes out from a protocol that was apparently hacked, and there's a bunch of claims for, makes a statement saying there was an exploit, all of a sudden there's on record the protocol that Nexus Mutual is ensuring saying that there was an exploit. And like there's some semantics, because where you have to read the wording of Nexus Mutual, because Nexus Mutual doesn't insure against like a certain type of economic attack that is like less on a protocol and more on like could be a multi-protocol issue. Um, but beyond that, there, I mean, like I said, when you're putting hundreds of millions of dollars at stake, no, you're it's not like, oh my god, there's all these Twitter people talking about this. Like, no, it is what is actually happening, what is legit, what is the real verdict, what actually happened. And these people are, you
But
know,
all you have is the protocol statement in that case.
well, no, you also have the on-chain activity.
But the on-chain activity only exists on the chain. It doesn't tell you whether like the
It's what happened, if you can understand it, that is. Which is what I'm saying, that people who are putting hundreds of millions of dollars as liquidity providers to back, these insurance things, are people who are experts at this and understand and can read this. And um but like, yeah, it's game theory ultimately.
I need to read some more about this. Um,
Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's okay, man. Hey, It's okay.
I
Don't feel
I
embarrassed.
really appreciate the condescension. Yeah, it's great.
I'm not condescending, man.
Um,
It's okay. It's like 99% of people in this 95% of people in this space are like idiots who like just say random fucking shit and have no idea what they're talking about, and just there's a lot of bad information out there, trust me. I understand. So I don't blame anybody for, and also, a lot of this is very complicated and, very, it's a lot to read and a lot to dig into.
well, in this specific case, I'd never heard of this fucking company before or how they function. So
Because
yeah,
you thought all of it was a scam, and so you never even spent the time to look into it, which is what
not really. I like
everybody
literally
does.
have no use for this specific kind of company, but it's
I
interesting.
know, but
I've
do you
looked into other aspects of it. Trust me, I have. Trust me, I'll make a trustless system to show you that I've read fucking white papers and shit. I'm also being interested in the technical aspect of the cryptography behind it. Oh hey, someone sent me a link about it. What I originally wanted to talk about was health insurance, though. Then you mentioned Nexus Mutual, so I guess I'll have to
well,
learn
I mean,
about that.
I don't know of any public project right now that is doing health insurance, but I did an AMA with, because you were talking about private transactions. I did an AMA with a protocol. It actually has their own blockchain. It's like the secret chain or secret protocol, I think is what it's called. And they have like a blockchain that is meant to be sort of like a scaling layer for Ethereum that guarantees full privacy. So you can do like data transactions on the secret chain, um, and then like withdraw back out onto the Ethereum chain. Um, and in discussion while I was talking with them, talked about how it has applications in healthcare, um, for in terms of like claims and things like that. But like the like bootstrapping the system is the hard part. Like designing the system is not hard, and
Really?
uh, yes, because yeah, like it's, I mean, it's simple. It's simple systems. These are simple game theoretic systems where you just have, like, as long as you have enough participants with enough skin in the game, you can sort of rely on a certain outcome every time, like a genuine outcome every time. Um, but you need to, have good amount of liquidity to bootstrap it, to, protect yourself from economic attacks at the start. And so any healthcare integration or healthcare insurance that is going to come out of the next 1 or 2 or 3 years, I fully expect will have like huge backing from numerous institutional investors. um, and they'll get a good cut of the pie. Not in terms of, well, I mean, in some sense payout, but like in terms of, there's sort of a new age form of ownership, which is like just these governance tokens, uh, where basically like a protocol will say we have this many tokens and we're going to mint this many at the start, and whenever we have a governance vote to change values in the smart contract, people with these tokens can vote, and we'll keep minting them. We'll mint them at this rate and we'll distribute them for free to people who are interacting with our protocol. And that's sort of like an incentive for people to, deposit liquidity to different things. But it also represents sort of like a new age form of stock share. Uh, but don't tell any regulator I said that.
Ah, shit. I just was sent a big article.
Does your
Someone
mind go way too dank?
not quite.
Where
I'm
did I
gonna
go
have to read.
wrong?
I'm gonna have to read the Nexus Mutual white paper basically at this point. This article is basically, if I understand correctly, claiming that Nexus Mutual is a scam and a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, those people are wrong.
Well, I'll have to read about it and judge for
Why don't you
myself.
actually link me the article?
The devil is in the details in those things.
Link me the article.
Yeah, I'll link it to you. I'll fucking post it in general. I haven't had time to really read it. Well, I was like focusing on what you're talking. And like there's a couple excerpts from the white paper, but I'd rather like read the white paper in full to have the full context. I guess we can go over it together if you want to. All right, you know, I'll screen share and
This seems like they're just making like a general argument that like anything that requires investors on one side and then users on another is like a Ponzi scheme.
well, you know, I'll read it. I'm fucking going in then. Cutting to the chase, Nexus Mutual is another DeFi project that purports to serve as protection in the DeFi space, which is ironic when considering the venture capitalists backing the project are also responsible for fueling the investment behind the very DeFi projects that apparently require insurance. Below is a screenshot from their website. Since this is a brief review, we decided to cut to the chase here and get right to the white paper to see exactly what Dejan Spartanfeld was profound about Nexus Mutual. Like most blockchain projects... Oh, sorry, what?
I mean, you can read this article if you want. I don't think this article is worth spending your time reading, to be honest.
Okay.
Anybody can write an article like this. This is nothing. Like you gotta be able to see through the shit in crypto because there's a lot of
I can't see if it's shit or not if I don't read it. How can you say that? Like,
go ahead, read. Go ahead.
I'll read it. I need to also read the fucking Nexus Mutual stuff. See if it checks out.
Did not look like it had anything real to me.
Like most blockchain projects, there are a formulaic structure to the paper. Agency. Insurers decide on how customers' money is handled, including how it is invested, which insurance risks it will back, and when it gets paid out to shareholders. They also have an implied option where there's a potentially unlimited upside, but if the insurance company goes bust, it is customers that suffer. Interests are not directly aligned. Let me read that again. Insurers decide on how customers' money is handled. The insurers of Nexus Mutual, right? And the customers' money are the people paying money into Nexus Mutual?
Yes, they're paying interest to the...
Right, to get insured.
Yeah. And
right, so you have
money into a pool. Customers purchase contracts that expire at a certain date and guarantee them to a payout, and they pay some amount of cents like per share, and then the 100 minus the cost of the share is what the payout would be. So they're it can be sort of pricey as well to get this insurance, but if you're making over more interest in what you're doing with the capital in blockchain than you're paying on the insurance, then it doesn't really matter.
All right, transparency. Customer finds it extremely difficult to assess how safe a particular insurer is. There's a clear information asymmetry issue. In developed nations, both of these issues are dealt with primarily via law and prudential regulation, a complex combination of standards defining minimum capital levels, governance processes, reviews, and regular financial reporting. Regulation in this way is largely effective, barring a handful of high, and it cuts off there. But we have Nexus Mutual's interpretation of how modern insurance works. The characterization of the insurance is somewhat inaccurate and also grossly exacerbates the perceived drawbacks in the insurers. Certain aspects of insurance are outside of the scope of insurance entirely, like the idea that insurance chooses which insurance risks it will back. This is a byproduct of human free will or determinism if you believe the latter. Either way, it's out of scope. Customers also do not find it extremely difficult to assess how safe a particular insurer is. In fact, the insurance industry worldwide is highly regulated. They admit in the white paper itself that regulation this way is largely effective, so it seems like, yeah. In addition, there is insurance for insurance companies as well. It's called reinsurance. I'm going to skip the quotes. Hey, what's the few gross overstatements about the insurance industry when you're hawking off a revolutionary decentralized finance product that will change the landscape of insurance as we all know it? A bit heavy on the sarcasm here, yes. Moving forward, the white paper does give the insurance industry at least some credit for building the insurance industry itself, but it's certain to not give too much. Even with this, I'm going to have to read the white paper at some point. Even with its burden, the institutional model has provided significant benefits to customers via reduced premiums and deeper pockets. The underlying diversification benefits have more than outweighed the regulatory burden, but there is still substantial unnecessary cost in the system. Roughly 35% of insurance premiums are lost due to frictional costs in the system. So we get back to like what you were talking about earlier, the idea that what she also calls frictional costs are yeah. Only 65% of premiums are returned to customers via claims. The rest is lost in distribution, operational expenses, including regulatory, capital costs, and profit. Blockchain technology and smart contracts can strip out not only the administrative inefficiencies, but a large portion of the governance and regulatory related costs. They can do this by providing trust in a different, much more cost-effective way. Trust is moved from institutions and regulations to transparent code. Of the 35% of frictional costs, we believe blockchain industry can cut out approximately 18% due to administrative savings and reduced governance and regulatory costs, effectively halving the frictional costs in the system. The very premise of the first screenshot is absolutely incorrect. This is in reference to the portion that states that blockchain technology and smart contracts can strip out the administrative inefficiencies. There is perhaps nothing that hurts the cause of blockchain more than the pseudo-anarchistic values touted around the space, claiming that blockchain is a cure-all for any and everything, including things that do not need to be cured. To be clear, blockchain takes coordination as much as anything else, and this has been the case since the beginning. If it weren't, then Satoshi Nakamoto would not have proposed the Bitcoin white paper to the Mets-style email list in 2008, and Satoshi certainly wouldn't have wasted their time contacting individuals such as Wei Dai to gather more information about their methodologies. Forums that were created shortly after Bitcoin's launch were done with the intentions of providing an open forum and ultimately a central place of communication where any and all bugs, such as the batch overflow error, which is ultimately described by Jeff Garzik, followed by a patch that ultimately ended up being pushed by Gavin Anderson. The costs associated with blockchain are, again, enormous when taking the entire ecosystem into account. For instance, when considering the total cost of the Bitcoin mining ecosystem, the total is astronomical. However, cost is a moot point here because in business, cost is justified by profit. Therefore, unless a comparative argument is made using the latter as a benchmark, this erroneous statement about cost only serves the purpose of posturing for Nexus Mutual. Going a bit further into the white paper, the peer-to-peer aspect of the business model that Nexus Mutual proposes appears to defy all of the alleged benefits that they claim just a few paragraphs above would be conferred by the use of blockchain. I'm not sure. Yeah, you want to address this? Go ahead. Sorry, I wanted to finish off this this part, but oh wait, there's another part here for the peer-to-peer stuff.
I don't understand the what they're saying, that the administrative cost of a corporation isn't eliminated by blockchain because there is a number of people who coordinate and cooperate to write the code at some point.
To be fair, we can talk about
that is comparable to the endlessly scaling wage slaves who are pushing buttons to deposit your money into a yield earning account. Like,
I actually agree with you. That's a false equivalency. A better equivalency would be to talk about the fact that even Nexus Mutual will still have administrative tasks and management. Like, but to be fair,
in terms of like the scale and actual work required compared to doing something equivalent at a national insurance, traditional bank, or traditional organization scale.
And to be fair, like in the white paper of Nexus Mutual itself, it acknowledges that it's of the 35% frictional costs, they hope to remove 18%. They're not claiming to remove everything. So yeah, maybe yeah. See below. The following components are necessary for peer-to-peer.
Well, I just
Sorry.
want to make a point.
Yeah.
Like Nexus Mutual does have a legal entity attached to it, and the reason they do that is to make it easier for institutional clients to participate in their operation. So yeah.
That. Yeah, but I mean that's not the only reason.
Um,
You like
no,
it's actually.
that is I mean, like, maybe they might make another case, but there are tons and tons of protocols who set up financial protocols who don't have a legal, you know, entity attached to it, and, um, the reason they do that is because they want to be able to have closer relations and connections and be able to, do business with institutional people, and, that requires a lot of hand-holding as well.
Sure. I feel like that's also really important to like gain trust in general in the financial world. Like if you don't even have an actual like an actual literal company behind the behind the technology you're presenting, then it's
Well, it's a dual-sided nature because a lot of the stuff in crypto is, you can get a lot of, like, in the crypto community, the hardcore crypto community, you can get a lot of, like, cool points for being, like, a totally, like, pseudo-anonymous or anonymous project, like,
yeah, sure.
but there's scaling limitations there, and definitely for something like, insurance, like, you want to make sure your bootstrap is as, as large as it can be.
And the reason I'm talking about trust is also like that if shit hits the fan and there are like huge problems that arise, then there is at least an entity that's responsible for them. That like especially for insurance, that seems to be pretty important. If there is like a mistake in the code and all blows up.
Well, what do you mean by mistake in the code? The code operated exactly how it was coded to operate. That's the issue with smart contracts is whenever there's an exploit, it's not it's not an error in the code. It's just a I mean, like, sometimes, like, you could argue it's an error because, like,
Like
you put a negative value in and it zeroes out and goes to infinity because it wasn't
yes,
coded to handle that.
computers do exactly what we tell them to. That doesn't mean that we can't. You don't. That doesn't mean software developers don't make mistakes.
No, it gets weird when
You're getting really close to saying that, and
when
I have to object to that. That's
I
insane.
know, but it gets weird when it's an open source like, okay, so that instance where you put a negative number and it blows up to infinity, that's maybe a extreme instance, okay? Here's another instance. Somebody, is using okay, and this gets complicated because this starts to edge into stuff where you have to know how Solidity and smart contracts are working to really understand this shit. Um, but somebody has a smart contract and it uses a flash loan to trade some USDC for a whole ton of DAI over on Curve Finance, which is an exchange, and that pushes the price of DAI up a little bit because you just bought a bunch. And then in the same transaction, you are lending that out to a platform who's using an outdated Oracle price now because you just use a flash loan to another platform and they use and like these systems get interoperable in a way where it can become very, very difficult to um, assign blame sometimes or say that it was like a bug in the code. Like sometimes it's not a bug in the code, it's just literally an edge case where the code's functioning totally
Look,
fine. It's you know
as a
some
software developer, if there's a problem, I've worked as a software developer for years. If there's a problem in my software because of an edge case, that's like on me. I made a mistake in the code. That's like literally a mistake as a developer. That's not something hard to acknowledge. It sucks, but you're supposed to test for edge cases. You're supposed to think of all the possible uses.
I'm just letting you know
Yeah.
there's like a large percentage of the crypto and developer community who strongly disagree with you. And
That's
that's always been the case. It's not something that I have generated or putting forward. I'm just reporting on sort of
okay.
the status of the beliefs of the society, of the crypto society. We live in a society. Um
That's really weird to me. Like I get like obviously like trying to burn at the stake whoever committed the code that like didn't foresee an edge case or whatever. Like I'm not talking about that, but like it is technically a mistake if you didn't think about like
some of it goes back to there was at one point a project on Ethereum called the DAO, and it was like a coordination DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. That's what DAO stands for. Um, and it got hacked, and there was like hundreds, I don't know the exact amount, hundreds of thousands of Ethereum, possibly millions. It's been a while that were stolen. And what happened was it was because it was a problem in the code. And what happened was Vitalik, the original quote unquote creator of Ethereum, basically started a push forward a proposal and started a movement to push an update to Ethereum that undid the hack and would basically just roll back, and then people would fix the problem in the code and people would move on. And apparently at the time Vitalik was like, if we are ever going to do this, this is the best time to do it now, and we would only do it this once, and we would go forward, better knowing to be careful. And they did it, but a huge percentage of the community, well, not huge, but a moderate and considerable portion of the community forked off because code is law in their beliefs. And that smart contract executed exactly how the creators and everybody who were involved with it accepted it to operate. And then that person who stole the Ethereum didn't steal it. They just interacted with the code.
I
You know,
understand. That's there's a lot to I feel like that's yeah that's
where
that,
Ethereum platform came from.
that's I understand better like now the perspective like the whole code of law thing. Honestly, that's like that's insane to me. I mean that's
It's
actual
dramatic.
insanity. Good night, Kino. See you. All right, let's get back to the Nexus Mutual. Thank you for
It's nothing. This is like just a FUD article. You know what FUD is? Fear, uncertainty.
yeah, I know.
It's just like somebody who's like really bored at their house and they like reading stuff on crypto and they follow
Look,
the
the thing is,
just like
like,
one of like the most degenerate Twitter accounts
okay,
on
okay,
Twitter.
you want to do this properly? Let's do this properly. Give me like a week. I'll read through. I'll read through the actual Nexus Mutual white paper.
I mean,
Think about it, and if I like if there's stuff that bothers me
your
with it, if I feel like there's weak inconsistencies or
your opinion about smart contracts shouldn't hinge on Nexus Mutual.
no, my opinion on Nexus Mutual will hinge on Nexus Mutual.
I'm gonna show you Nexus Mutual. I don't even really care about Nexus Mutual. I'm just telling you Nexus Mutual because it's an example of a decentralized insurance marketplace.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Is that look, I don't think smart contracts are I don't even have a problem. I think smart contracts are pretty cool. There's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with them. The fucking sushi swap website you showed me when we talked about it in chat the other time. You know what? I read like the stuff on how it worked, and like the whole idea of having
AMM.
the smart contracts to handle the loans and all of that shit in it's pretty cool. It's like a really cool concept. I like the idea. I like the idea of it being like of offering up those services in this like I guess open crowdsourced way. That's pretty fucking cool. The only remaining problems I have at that point are I guess my like it's kind of minor in the grand scheme of things. The auditability of code tends to be a little bit overestimated.
SushiSwap actually formally
What?
verified. SushiSwap has been formally verified, all their code.
By whom?
Uh, Tora. If you look them up, they're like one of the biggest auditing firms in the world.
Okay, that's pretty cool. But like in general, also like the fact that code functions properly, that there's well, I'm gonna call them bugs, or errors, because that's what they are. Those are things that sometimes, like especially in bigger code bases, I don't know how like big the code for SushiSwap is, but in bigger code bases, you can sometimes have exploits that lay dormant for years or even and only show up well when they finally get someone discovers them and they do get exploited. That stuff
Shock
can be
you,
scary.
shock you how Ethereum Solidity code is.
Sorry.
Solidity code, which is the
Mhm.
language for
Yeah,
Ethereum.
I know.
Um, Smart contracts with Solidity are like super small. Like there's like a large portion of every smart contract that's just like a bunch of archived old code that has just been proved to basically be safe to handle math. It's called safe math.
Mhm.
And then after that, there's like 20 lines of code, and that's like the average smart contract, or like 50 lines of code, if that.
Yeah. I've actually when they released Solidity, I actually messed around with it a little bit. And yeah, definitely like the code for I know that the code for the contracts themselves is usually really small, but I was wondering like because SushiSwap has a lot of different things going on, right? With the
Yeah, if you were looking at SushiSwap as a whole, there's like maybe I don't know. There's a couple different smart contracts that work in between each other. There's like one for creating token pools for people to be able to swap back and forth. There's another one for I think like routing, basically, and it routes a number of different streams. If you're making a multi-hop transaction between different pools, it will route
Mhm.
that. If you're paying fees, it will route that back to the sushi bar. You know, but yeah, there's for any considerable protocol, there's usually multiple smart contracts you'll have to look at, and it can be, a little bit intimidating to understand how it's all interoperating between each other. Um, but in the grand scheme of things, Solidity is very easy to learn
Oh yeah,
compared to
definitely
other,
it's pretty
yeah,
simple.
other like
But then the problem is with technologies like this. But I guess then you can rely on like the fact that Ethereum has existed for quite a few years. It's been tested in a lot of aspects. But then like
true.
Solidity is built on top of Ethereum. So even though the Solidity code itself is simple, you have the underlying foundation needs to also be perfectly solid for it to work. But that
Yeah,
wasn't my main concern. Wait, what the fuck? I got distracted. Dude, it's like 8:30 a.m. I haven't slept tonight.
oh,
I lost my train of thought from where we were at earlier. We were talking about smart contracts. I think they're cool. Oh yeah, my main issue at the end is broken, yeah. My main issue at the end with the smart contracts is the sadly, even though like we moved past it, um I still have issues
Don't
with.
electricity.
Sorry.
Don't say electricity. I swear to God, I will
Yeah,
scream.
I still have issues with
Oh,
the or some of
God,
the
how
original
do you use
contentions we've
the
had about.
internet? How do you use the internet
I
without
I s-
feeling like a piece of shit whenever you're connecting to the internet? If
I
you
still
think
had issues with. I'm not gonna respond to whataboutism. I ain't got time for that.
it's not,
Um,
it's about having a genuine position. You either genuinely care about an issue or you're fronting about an issue to make it relevant to something that it's not relevant. And if you genuinely care about the environment, then you should be pushing topics that have a genuine impact to the environment. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and blockchain does not have a genuine impact to the environment. It is people who are using numbers to just like throw out a number and be like, look, it's that number. Look, I can see this number. That's like over 10,000. That's a number, right? There's numbers here, so it must be bad, right? No, it's not. It's a nonsensical argument. I implore you to look up the largest pollution sources and then try to
you
compare that to blockchain.
you realize
It's
that, like, once
not
again, that I don't know how, like, I don't know how that's not clear, that you're saying I shouldn't care about the electricity usage because there's this other stuff happening.
no,
No,
I'm saying
I can
you
criticize
care
multiple
about
things at the same
you
time. I can multitask. It's okay. And yes, I can also choose to, like, I can choose to use my computer and the internet, but I choose not to mine Bitcoin, for example. Like, that's I use a bit less electricity that way.
you would prefer people use gold as their store of value, and you would
No,
prefer
I would
miners
prefer, honestly,
to
I
extract
already said I would
electricity.
prefer it if blockchains didn't if we if if fucking Bitcoin
So
wasn't
what
the
you're
most popular blockchain
is that
with
you
the mining bullshit going on. That's what I
what
would
it
prefer.
sounds like to me is that you prefer gold as the store of value system over Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin would pollute less.
I didn't prefer gold. When we were comparing gold to Bitcoin as a store of value, I just pushed back on one being objectively better as a store of value
So
to the
why
other.
somebody is presenting a better solution to gold in terms of the environment? We have Bitcoin, which is the better solution to gold for the environment. People are still saying Bitcoin isn't good. It destroys the environment. It's bad. And then you're
You
basic.
can't
You are by
even there.
proxy
How can you
promoting
say
gold.
Bitcoin is
You're by proxy promoting gold, the more polluting uh, resource.
how can you say that Bitcoin is less polluting than gold?
Because
We're
it
trying to
extracts
compare.
gold from the earth. They have huge mining operations that pollute massively. What are you
Yeah,
talking about?
absolutely.
We use
We're on.
electricity, right? We use electricity, which means it can be produced in a green way.
It
Okay.
usually isn't.
It's different when you're burning oil to fuel a mining operation versus when you're using fucking electricity from the grid that was produced in a very efficient manner. That's totally different, okay? Like,
Yeah, it is
please,
totally different, which makes it also really
chill.
hard to fucking compare. Like, we'd have to, honestly, at that point we'd have to quantify the exact amount of,
Look,
like, the sources of the electricity
I'm
being
telling
used
you,
to mine Bitcoin.
honestly,
Like,
it's
the one thing I
not
would, and like, I could try to see this from a beneficial standpoint to your argument, where, like, sure, a large part of the electricity used to mine Bitcoin comes from hydroelectric dams in China, which is sustainable electricity. So like, that is perfectly fine. Though it could be used for other things. There's an opportunity loss, but it's not like a pollution loss. But then there's a lot of electricity being made by, like, just fucking burning coal
you
and other
realize
dumb shit.
bank servers use electricity too, right? You
It's
realize
You want to talk about
Twitch
negligible.
servers use electricity, right?
You want to
YouTube
talk about.
servers use electricity. We should get rid of YouTube. It's using too much electricity and it's just a fun thing. It's not actually it's doing anything. Just
Okay,
get rid of it. It's just a
another layer
live
of
stream.
whataboutism, and,
Like
like, different
and
scales.
I'm just I it, why do you hate these arguments, but you for some reason are so attached to this Bitcoin argument about electricity usage? Like Why is it that you, whenever I
I
say
don't
these
hate them. You know
you're
what?
like,
I
"Oh,
don't hate them. I fucking hate
you
data
don't."
centers,
Okay,
and I
you
hate the
agree. You agree.
environmental aspect,
If
the
you can
consequences they have for the
agree,
world. But we're talking about
you can
Bitcoin. We're
agree.
not talking about data centers. Jesus,
You can,
that's why I'm
you
saying
can
it's whataboutism. We're talking about Bitcoin, and you're like, what about YouTube? We're not talking about the
if you can
consequences of
agree,
YouTube.
then we should be focusing on what's the biggest issue, right? We can agree that if we have
No,
all
we can
these things
focus on
that are
multiple
no, no,
issues
no,
at the
no,
same
no, no,
time.
no, no, no. Hold up. If we have it, okay, well then how about this scenario? We have issue A. It contributes 98% of the problem. And then we have issue B, C, D, E, F, and F, and they all contribute totally 2% to the problem. And we're talking about D, problem issue D right now. Do you think it would be in our interest to talk about issue A if we're concerned about this whole topic, or do you really want to stay on issue D?
Considering that was the original topic of this discussion, yeah, I actually do want to stay on issue D. Because
No. You misunderstand me. Okay. Issue A in this hypothetical is like the usage of fuel by international shipping containers and shipping boats. And issue D is the usage of electricity by Bitcoin. Okay. Do we want to talk about the 98% contributing problem, or do we want to talk about the 1% contributing problem? And which one is more valuable to our time and energy? Okay. And which one does a better service to the earth to talk about if we really care about the environment? That's where I come from, okay? Like, if I actually care, like, when I'm caring about the environment, I'm gonna talk about an issue that is going to make the most impact. I'm not gonna like, and I really wanna be sure that the issue I'm talking about is going to make the most impact. I don't wanna just think it because I read some tweet about some people talking about, "Oh my god, Bitcoin uses the same amount of electricity as Finland." Oh, yeah, nobody fucking lives in Finland, that's why.
well, regardless, we hit back on this because I was saying, like, honestly, smart contracts are pretty fucking cool. I think I think there's like cool potential for a lot of nice stuff with them. I think we actually can both agree on that, right?
True.
Cool. I still like you still haven't convinced me. But let's not give it the go around. Okay, I kind of want to wrap this up. I hear you. You haven't convinced me. I've stated why. You've stated why as well. Can we agree to disagree on this for now?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Shit. Well, good thing you don't know where I live, unless you can try bribing Gehyunhyo with some of those hard-earned Ethereum or swap tokens or whatnot. Take out a hit on me with that Bitcoin.
Don't sell your Bitcoin, okay? Don't
Oh,
sell
dude.
your
Okay. Since we're done on the subject of like the actual like the debate subjects,
You see it at 100,000.
let's get into the financial advice, dude. I want to sell. Okay, I have like half a Bitcoin. Yeah, I want to sell probably like half of it and keep the and stick to like a quarter Bitcoin. See what happens.
Keep it. Why? Like, just I mean, so half. That's like 25,000.
Yeah, so we like the 12 13k. Well, a bit more because Bitcoin's like around 55 to 60k these past few
Do you
weeks.
like need the money?
Sorry.
Do you need the money all of a sudden? Like, you like planning a trip or something?
Honestly, what I want to do is I want to diversify. I want to have some money in. I want to keep like a fair bit in Bitcoin because I already fucking have it and I got it really cheap back in the day. I think I bought like the entire Bitcoin was bought at like 50 euros. So the rate of returns on that investment, even though it wasn't an investment, is insane. I just want to take my profit, put it in some other stuff that I genuinely believe in more, and keep some just in
Ethereum.
case. And mostly, I'm thinking the stock market for what I would take out.
I don't know, man. I would if you really wanted to diversify.
Mm-hmm. What would be your take on that situation? Even though you fully believe in crypto and its potential and all that, you do see the like wisdom in maybe in not having like all your investment be only crypto,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, I understand divesting. If you don't have any sort of large amount of savings anywhere else, like if you don't have like an equivalent amount of like if you don't have $25,000 saved up somewhere else that you can play with, you know, then yeah, I can understand selling some. I would say keep it to like $10,000 of value of the Bitcoin that you're selling, and then like take that $10,000 and go put it into different, stocks or whatever ETF or whatever you want to put it into.
Yeah, for
Um,
example.
I personally, I fully believe Bitcoin's going to be $100,000 by the
When?
this year.
Seriously, this year?
Yes,
What do you think's driving it? Institutional
people on
investors? Okay.
Elon and all his friends are not going to sell if it like drops $5,000, $10,000. They're not selling. They're holding it long
Oh yeah,
term.
definitely.
It's
Um, Speaking of which, I have okay. Since you're interested in like markets, I've been like asking this question to anyone who's interested in investing, whether it's crypto or conventional or regardless, or like money markets. What do you think? What do you think about the all investment assets have been rising throughout 2020 into well, not all of 2021, but there's been a significant rise in the value of numerical value of all investment assets, real estate, stocks, crypto. Can't think of what else to add to the list. If you have any suggestions, I have a theory that a large part of this is directly like inflation from people from a lot of money being printed out as to help out companies and people through the COVID times, and a fair number of those entities, whether they're companies or people, see wisdom in putting that money into investment assets, which means there's like basically being printed money and it goes straight into that market, which also would explain why there hasn't been that much inflation in consumer goods, even though there was so much money printed. I'd like to hear your take on that, if you have any, or if you have an opinion or not.
your question is essentially um
Do
what
you
I think of
think do you think
crypto.
like the bailout money basically from COVID times has also had an influence on the rise in prices of investment assets, and I guess specifically crypto because that's like your specialty?
Well, I would say yes, but it's that's not a primary driver. Like the things that are making crypto blow up is like a confluence of multiple aspects. Inflation and the printing of USD is one of them. Um, like a lot of the money in crypto sort of like I think about like it's called liquidity. I think about it in sort of very visually liquid terms. The money will sort of wash back and forth, and as it accumulates on one corner or one side in one asset, it'll wash over to the other assets, and that's sort of like Bitcoin, Ethereum, like Binance Coin, some Litecoin. Some of these other top coins are heavily affected, and then also all the DeFi tokens and everything on Ethereum and stuff like that. Um, and so, in a way, yes, because the inflation affects Bitcoin primarily. Now, there is some effect on Ethereum, and there's also a sort of growing uh, thesis, there's like a growing thesis based on Ethereum actually being like a digital oil. Bitcoin's a digital gold, Ethereum's a digital oil because it fuels economic transactions. And there's also scarcity, and there's some right now in its current form, Ethereum technically has inflation permanently just to infinity. But there's actually a proposal in the works that is pretty popular that will introduce fee burning and will theoretically actually make the Ethereum supply deflationary long term. And so yeah, there's a growing thesis that Ethereum is also a good store of value, a good hedge against inflation. So in some sense, yeah, inflation is playing into crypto, but uh, a lot more of it is um, the institutional side of it.
Yeah. I just
Like
think it's interesting to think about because, well, specifically from the stock market perspective, I guess it doesn't apply that much to crypto, where the value is like mostly based on like store of value, or with the Ethereum smart contract technologies and like the investment and anticipation of that. Where like with stock market, you have all those. There are very few companies that can look back on 2020 and be like, "Wow, this was a great year."
that's true. That's true.
We grew so much, and then you
That's
look
true.
at their stocks, and their stocks are just like on
Oh,
this
okay.
upward trend. So the way I interpret that is that it's not that the companies increased in value; it's that money decreased in value in the meantime. So the amount of
Yeah,
money that each share represents is higher, right?
yeah. I mean, I just psychologically, I just don't think you can print half the supply of the U.S. currency in 1 year and not have like at least 5% inflation, and they're not representing that um like in their official stats, but yeah, like, anybody who's paying attention has seen the charts, seen all the asset prices, all the commodities, all the hard assets, wood, paper, oil, no, not oil, metals, resources like that, commodities are all up like 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100, 200%, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
people who are paying attention are seeing it, and what the Fed is doing is they're trying to play a psychological game with the American people to keep them, docile and spending.
And it's probably the only thing they can do at this point
Yeah,
to
absolutely. I mean, if
mitigate. Like
they're
they have
yeah,
to.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and if they're successful, then they can basically ride it out and
Yeah,
just take minor blood loss. And apparently they have other tools that they can
yeah.
use if it gets worse. I'm not exactly sure what, but that's what they keep saying.
What's spooky for me in that is not so much I it's hard for me to imagine, but I could their strategies could fail, but it's hard for me to imagine an actual like explosive inflation of consumer goods. For the most part, it seems like it should go through like invisibly. Officially, it's 20%. Damn, that's well, okay. Well, that's way bigger than I thought it would be. Um, but like the inflation, the much higher inflation of investment assets makes me scared about the future of wealth inequality in general. Where like we already are at the point in our societies where like young people cannot will have much worse access to real estate and other things that have created so much wealth for previous generations, and it's only getting worse. Oh, officially, it's 20% of the U.S. dollar is printed in 2020. Oh, okay, so you're correcting. Okay, so it wasn't 20% inflation. You were correcting the amount of money printed. Okay. Apparently, according Scoopster is saying in Twitch chat that it was 20% in 2020, which is still huge. That's a huge amount of money printed.
I mean, January 6, 2020, total assets on the Federal Reserve balance sheet. In so this is, I think this. This is trillions. Yeah, 4 trillion, and March 29th or January 4th, 2021, 7.3 trillion. It's close to 50%, and we're still going up.
All right. Apparently he's saying apparently it's the it's what the I guess what the treasury is claiming. I guess maybe the numbers don't add up or whatnot. I don't think it. I yeah. I don't know. I don't like. I feel that doesn't really matter that much for our current discussion. The exact proportion. Right? We both agree there's been a lot of money printed out, and everyone would agree with that. And it's going to cause inflation. That's what we're talking about, right?
True.
Yeah, it just seems that like most of the inflation will be limited to investment assets. I just was curious on your like take on that, whether you agreed with that, what other consequences there could be. I guess specifically for crypto as well. But
I mean, long term, I would not make that bet.
sorry, cut off.
Long term, I would not make that bet. Every single fiat currency that has ever existed has followed the same trend, just down, because of printing. So, long term, I sort of think it's going that way. But that's not to say that's going to be some crazy collapse. And I also think a lot of the interest rate sort of stories that the financial news are telling is a lot of just hype, and they're trying to induce a sell-off basically in the market to get things cheap.
That brings me actually that brings me to something that's related to crypto that maybe we can discuss real quick, if you still have time. I've seen people advocate. I don't know if that's something you personally defend. I've seen people advocate for using some form or other of crypto as a replacement for fiat currency, and citing the the inflationary nature of a fiat currency as the main argument to move towards like a deflationary crypto, or at least a stable crypto, whatever that would mean. Would be
Yeah,
deflationary if it's not being
there's
printed.
a bunch of projects that out there to sort of
But
create a better stable asset.
I don't think I don't think I would like to live in a society where where we cannot like like take the example of this COVID crisis. Imagine if the government didn't have the tools at its disposal to create currency to be able to bail out businesses and people, and be able to like reduce harm through economic policies. How would they be able to do that with a deflationary crypto?
Yeah, it's never going anywhere. They're going to governments are never going to let go of their own personalized currency that you have to pay taxes in.
Yeah, this is a hypothetical where we're living in crypto land where the money has been replaced by there's no fiat currency. It's been
What I'm telling you is that's never going to happen.
okay, but like there are some people who want to see that happen, who think that
Never going
that's
to happen.
possible.
People are delusional, and you should probably just ignore those people. Those people have been
Okay.
around in forever. Trust me. Okay, those people have been around, and they're just delusional. They keep saying the same thing over and over and over and over. They're like the people who say Bitcoin is backed by nothing. Okay, they're just delusional.
Okay, you know what? I I think we found the thing probably that we agree on the most.
I mean,
Right here,
yeah,
on like
and
it not being realistic to have like a state like a tax like a crypto you would accept as tax payments, and like that would completely replace fiat currency. Jeremy, what's it backed by? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
They will have a it's called a DCEP. Hold on. Oh no, CBDC. cryptocurrency, CB, basically a cryptocurrency, central bank digital currency. Yeah, sorry. So they'll have blockchain currencies that represent US dollars. It's just going to be a private blockchain run by the Federal Reserve,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
and we both know that's like not actual crypto, right? That's
I mean,
just just a ledger in the Federal Reserve.
it's a decentralized ledger.
Wait,
I
they're
mean,
gonna
it's
decent.
not okay, this right here is speculation about how they're going to run it, but it's still decentralized in the way that there's multiple nodes and they have to come to a conclusion and it's a public ledger that you can look at. And there will probably, I'm assuming, there'll be like digital, like an SDK basically to integrate with their CBDC, but that's coming. But it's not going to be a deflationary. It'll be
Yeah, yeah,
in.
because that's what we're
It'll,
talking about. But it's gonna be
yeah,
transparent, I guess, at least,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is pretty cool. Okay. Yeah. Well, the main question I was getting at was like, do you believe what those other people believe, that it would be interesting to have that would be better to have the state-backed currency be deflationary, which like obviously there are big problems with inflation, but I just don't see it happening. Governments need the debt to be able to invest into society and infrastructure and all sorts of things, and at that point they're like printing money, right? So.
Yeah, and even if you set it up to be deflationary, like there could always still be like a emergency situation where then society is like, okay, we just need to mint a bunch more because we're all broke, right? That could
Yeah.
still happen.
Well,
So
that's
it's
yeah,
that's sort of just, I think, maybe just a society thing. Like we need emergency levers, just sometimes.
yeah. This this would be the right moment. Tyrion is sleeping. This would be the right moment for Tyrion to hop in and start telling us about about the boom and bust nature of capitalism, the recurrent the recurrent crises. Anyways, I shouldn't meme on him. He isn't here. Um, I kind of want to meme about Dogecoin, but it's a joke anyways.
You gotta watch the Dogecoin trailer.
Dogecoin trailer. Okay, let's watch that. I don't think
Well,
I've ever seen that.
no,
It's just when the oh god, when the fucking like a couple months ago the
Twitch chat.
sorry.
I put
Oh,
it
you
in the
linked it in
Twitch
Twitch
chat.
chat. Okay, maybe that's not the same video I just opened up. Thank you. I just for some reason I ended up on the Dogecoin subreddit. Oh, the Super Bowl commercial. Oh my god. Okay, let's see. Let's check it out.
Is it
shit,
just
it's
me?
not the right one.
Or is it getting crazier out there?
It's a video that was linked by Elon.
Well,
Oh.
yeah, I gotta watch what I say here.
Oh, D is for Dogecoin. Okay, yeah. This is,
Occasionally I make jokes about Dogecoin.
okay, that's the correct link I just linked.
Oh, okay. So that's the previous one I was on. Yep, that's the one. Okay, fine. D's for Dogecoin. Yep, that's the one. Anyways, I was on the Dogecoin subreddit, and like one of the most upvoted posts was this random dude talking about how Dogecoin is such a great investment, and it doesn't matter there's like billions new Dogecoins minted every year. That all we need is like for that many new investors to put that many more billions of dollars in every year. I was like, it was super cringe, dude. He like, and also he said a market cap. He said a market cap represents the amount of money put into it.
No, it
It
represents
yeah,
its like current sitting value.
yep,
If you were to multiply the supply by its current market rate, but that if you
yeah,
were
I
to
know.
sell off half of that, the market price would tank.
I know, and that guy didn't know that. Like that video like some primo stupidity. It's amazing, and it somehow was a vote, and like all the top comments were people like, "Wow, I learned so much." It was
Dude, you have no idea.
shocking.
Like being as DeFi degenerate as I am, I've been in so many communities where there are people asking questions about like they'll be like saying that they like made mistakes making transactions, and it's just like, how the fuck did you end up here and you like don't even know how to send a transaction? Like they're like sending their cryptocurrency to like just a rant like the smart contract of a token, because it's just like this crazy shit where it's just like where are these fucking people coming from? Like who told like how does a person have the amount of education to be able to download a cryptocurrency wallet and then purchase cryptocurrency and put it in cryptocurrency and then start interacting with some DeFi smart contract online, but they literally don't know what they're doing. Like,
Yeah.
I just it's crazy to me sometimes.
Okay, I'm playing the trailer.
Let's move on to Bitcoin, shall we? That's a virtual
Bitcoin has now almost overtaken
Dogecoin is just, it's just a fun thing. You know,
Yeah. I know. I know. I was supposed to just be a joke, which is kind of sad considering people are like unironically investing in it and it's inflationary. But yeah, I know. It's supposed to be a parody of coins, not an actual investment.
dollars. Now, at its peak, if you had have invested $1,000 a year,
the game or what? Amazing.
Wow.
Mind blown.
Yeah. I'm now a crypto shill. That was what I needed to see.
Yeah. I don't know. You should watch. Have you listened? I know you talked about like Mark Cuban on. I think you talked about like the Defiant. I guess is what is the podcast you caught him on.
Mhm.
FTX, which is a exchange, crypto exchange. They do have like a podcast they run. They just uploaded a episode with Mark Cuban yesterday. That's great, and I think is he really gets into it and gives his business perspective on it.
Okay.
He's pretty balls deep in crypto.
Yeah, I've seen that. He's like one of the big institutional duders who's pushing it, right?
Well, I mean, he's involved, but I do not think is like one of the huge institutional players. I think he just has a small amount in, and he's just being a vocal proponent for it. Is my take. There's all like because the big institutional duders are very quiet about what they're doing, and they're very, private.
Oh yeah, sure.
In the mass majority, and everything he's said, it has not hit me as like he's like, hundreds of millions of dollars in crypto. Probably maybe a couple million, something like that. Or yeah, that's sort of my impression.
All right. Anything else to say? Wanna? We can wrap this up.
Wrap it up if you want. If you want to kick me out, I get it.
Nah, I'm really tired, okay? And I'm like kind of out of shit to meme on about crypto.
No worries. I'm gonna go drink
Like-
some alcohol, smoke weed,
What are you drinking?
some nasty gin.
Nasty gin. What is that?
Gin is nasty.
Wait, what's your Twitter account again? You linked it at some point when you were showing some crypto stuff in chat.
Do you want my? Do you want it? You
I
sure you want it?
got at least let you know plug.
0x Magic Turtle.
Oh, 0x magicturtle, right? I was like, I was like googling, I was like searching magicturtle on Twitter, and then I was on some like weird account. I didn't. Yeah. Okay. 0x. Oh yeah, found you. Cool. All right. If you want, if you like magicturtle's perspective, if you wanna keep up with the news, he's involved with the sushi
Heavily
forum.
involved. Yeah, Sushi Swap.
Yeah, Sushi Swap. He likes crypto. He's a magic turtle.
And I played StarCraft.
Oh yeah, and he's played StarCraft. Probably better than me because I'm fucking garbage at it. But you know, I'm learning. I'll get there.
The Masters at like the end of Wings of Liberty, and then I stopped playing because I played another Masters and beat him with like a terrible 4-gate. And I was just like, lost all my motivation after that. It was really weird, to be honest.
I want to say that's on you. That's your fault for playing Protoss. You have no one else to play. I gotta mean it.
It's my fault I was left with such shit builds.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I won't become as good as you at StarCraft, but who knows? Probably not.
All right, man. Take it easy. Stay safe.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on and talking with me. I enjoyed it, even though we've like yelled at each other a bit. I had fun. I hope you had fun too.
Yeah, no worries. Of Odin is being trained by me to be a Solidity expert. It's gonna make the big bucks for me. Hey man, if you know
Mhm.
like Python or JavaScript or HTML,
Yeah, I do.
Solidity is incredibly easy to learn.
Yeah, I know.
Incredibly easy to learn. It's like surprisingly easy.
Yeah. I honestly look. We had an idea for something that would basically being like a pretty memey NFT, and that's what with a friend, and that's why we were looking at the at Solidity.
No, there's so much opportunity for like real coders to build real things. So you don't have to go into like the whole, oh, we're gonna make like a community NFT project where people can yield farm NFTs, and then because a bunch of rich people bought the NFTs, now all of a sudden the NFTs are super valuable, and the project's going crazy. You don't have to go that route. Okay, there's legitimate jobs for coders who can just build. Like here's an example. Say you have your Ethereum deposited in one of these yield platforms, okay, and it's earning a yield, and then over on another yield platform, you can get a higher yield for your same asset. Now, if I wanted to manually move that around, I would have to do one transaction to withdraw it. I pay gas fee, another transaction to deposit it to the other platform, and that's another gas fee. What you can do with codes, you can have a smart contract that does that entire thing all in one transaction. And like things like that and similar are like in high demand in the space currently, just because there's such an imbalance in terms of talent in the space versus demand.
All right, that's good to know. Especially if there's like a lot of cooters around. They're looking for a job.
Yeah. Hold on one second. I'm gonna post a link in chat. I just have to get. And then
Cooters. Yeah, cooters. Cooters.
jobs.placeholder.vc.
Jobs.
134 jobs in the crypto space, all listed on this.
Fuck, dude, I think I'm gonna go for no sleep. If I go to sleep now, I'm like completely fucked.
I mean, aren't you already fucked because you're naturally staying up this late? So like clearly you're already fucked.
Yeah, but I like it's going to be even more. So like if I go to sleep now, I'm just abandoning all pretense at a schedule. If I stay up all day and go to sleep reasonably during this day's evening, then you know things can still work out.
Can you even do that? You can like, oh, I guess you're saying stay up and then
Yeah.
I mean,
All
yeah,
right.
if you want to stay up instead of doing a progressive orbit through the different time zones of Earth.
Yeah. Which is kind of what the trajectory I've been on. You'll fall asleep at like noon, happens every time. Yeah, it's pretty much where I've been going every time. Oh, the website doesn't work very well with the dark memes. Let's fix this. Oh, there you go. Oh, my eyes. Oh my god. Okay. I'm so sorry. But yeah, you can go look for this is all. Wait, this is all. Oh yeah, help decentralize data, wealth, and power. Okay, so this is all blockchain jobs. Cool.
Within this placeholder is like some venture capital firm, I think, and so these are a bunch of organizations they've invested in, and I guess they, have a centralized database of all the job listings for them to make it easier.
All right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, listed 3 days ago. Yeah, this is 9 days. Yeah, this is crazy. You guys gotta get into this space. You gotta open your eyes.
Like maybe if the streaming thing doesn't work out and I get back to coding, I'll look at some blockchain coding stuff.
Amazing. All right, man. Take it easy. Stay safe.
Yep, you too. Bye bye.